Hello folks, this is Old Truth Speaker again, coming to you with a little vid. And the name of this is Bernie Sanders, civil rights activist, and Dr. King's dream, a nightmare. First of all, I just want to start this video and just say a lot of things are being said by Bernie Sanders, Senator Bernie Sanders from Vermont, and a lot of things are being said by Black Lives Matter, these activists. But the group has splintered. It just fell apart. Well, I mean, not all together. They're splintered into different factions. And like I've said before, I previously said, it's strange how they went after Bernie Sanders and interrupted him in Seattle. That's old news. But that how they treated him when actually they couldn't even get near Hillary Clinton. I mean, and she had, like I said, a meeting with him in the back room. See, one thing about Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders have a track record of civil rights activism, not only in America, but all in Latin America for over 50 years. Before most of the BLM activists or founders were even born. We were wondering, a lot of other people were wondering, why did they pick Bernie Sanders, which I admit, it made him look rather, well, a lot of people said it made him look weak. How after they just took the mic and he just walked off. But I think he was in total control of himself and he didn't want to get anyone hurt. That's my opinion now, but that's not what this is about. But I want to tell you that Bernie Sanders was arrested as he fought against desegregation in public schools in Chicago way back in the 60s. I mean, he has a track record. He was fighting for Latin America being, the workers being discriminated against big businesses. Not only there, but from here. I mean, it's the same old story. And not only that, Bernie Sanders endorsed Jesse Jackson, and I think it was in his, 1988 presidential run, and that's not all. See, Bernie Sanders, he also has been he was given a 97% approval rate in 2002 by the NAACP and the ACLU. I mean, but the NAACP, I mean, come on, and he also was involved in the March on Washington. What was that? For Jobs and Justice by Dr. King. And what was that? 63? So do you understand, this man is he has a passion, not just for black people, but for minority groups. All he wants is for everybody to be created equal. And I mean, if that's what you want, it seems strange that he was picked like that. Well, let's face a fact. The comments concerning Black Lives Matter, it was a video put up, and someone said, well, why don't we stop black on black crime and violence? How blacks are killing blacks in extremely large numbers all over America. And there were over almost 1,500 comments, and they were all, well, what does one have to do with the other? And it was astonishing, the views that people have when blacks kill other blacks or rob them, or black on black crime and violence, and compared to police officers. I mean, it's unbelievable that we will say such things. I mean, our thinking skills, or we need help, and you know what we need? We need God in our life like never before. Let me tell you, Dr. King's dream is dead. We have been fighting for jobs and justice for 50 years, and we are no better off now than we were 50 years ago. At least when we had our own communities, we had our own clothing stores, our own furniture stores, our own barber shop. In some communities, we had our own doctors. Like I said before, we had our own, in my neighborhood, drugstore owned and operated by an African American. Now, I don't have the rights of the family to call up and give the person's name and the exact address where I know it to this day. And I'm talking about over 45 years ago. At least then we have more businesses. Do you remember, let me tell you something, in 1920, do you remember Black Wall Street? We have yet to achieve the status, the economic status that we had at least then, and at least in the 60s, black on black violence as it is now was relatively unknown. We loved one another. We cared for one another. Even before then, back in Harlem, I know for a fact, and I mean, I'm going back all the way back to the 30s. They even used to have rink parties in New York, Philadelphia, all over. But now we suffer from crab in the barrel syndrome. Do you understand it? Unless we respect ourselves, no one else is going to respect us. We need God like never before. We should repent. And let me tell you something. Somebody made a ridiculous statement, and they were saying that, something negative about God. God doesn't have anything to do with it. Very few people are actually Christians like they claim to be. Most people don't even know what's inside of the Bible. But that's not what this is about. What I'm saying is we need God like never before, or we're going to be not a permanent second class, but a permanent third class. Do you know that blacks make up 25% of the world population? And you have 1,000 think tanks in America that have been one of their main agendas. Well, I'll put it this way. It has been reported that half of that 25% will have died out in just the next 20 to 30 years. And this is what was being said by experts. See, we have to do research before we make statements over social media. It is astonishing when we see we're marching for Black Lives Matter, for Lives Matter, and against police brutality, but we cannot march and will not march against black on black crime. One of the elderly lady almost cried when there was a baby was shot and somebody was shot. I'll put it this way: a young child, and the person was asked, "Well, you seen him? Why don't you say something?" And he threw a couple of gang signs and said, "He don't want to snitch." But the first thing you do, it's the white man. No, Negro. Not everybody. Not a lot of African Americans, because you have your African Americans, you have your Negroes, African Americans. Then yes, you do. You have niggers. Do you understand that? It's a shame that what we are doing to one another. Now, I'm not knocking peaceful demonstrations. But what we should be doing is opening up our own stores. Your money's supposed to bounce 7 to 8 times before it leaves your community. Ours don't bounce. I'm just plain old English. Don't bounce once. The Jews call us liquid money because as soon as we get money, all 99% of it goes straight out to people who think we're an animal. I was all over the place, and the other day I was even in, a southern state. Way out there, East Indians are clothing us and feeding us. It is a disgrace. Dr. King's dream is a nightmare. And I'm glad, and I know a lot of other people have said the same thing, that Dr. King cannot see what's happened here today. It's a disgrace. But I give props to those who are fighting for justice in the right way. We're still fighting for jobs and justice after. Let me tell you what Hillary Clinton told the leaders of Black Lives Matter. She said, you could get a stadium full of white people and cry and tell them all this. And she said, unless you form a movement and move on one accord, you'll be having the same conversation 10 years from now. What was she saying? She said, she was telling them, you were opening your eyes then. The same thing that you talked about in 1960s It's the same thing you're talking about now. Jobs and justice and equality. Let's unite. Let's stop this Sambo syndrome. Not Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom was a hero. Folks, pray. Pray for our nation because we're losing. We're going to be in a war sooner. I hate to see black or white killed for some unethical big business or special interest groups, because all these politicians, both Republican and Democrat, are backed by the same people. Pray. Pray like never before. And folks, let's wake up. I'm proud of you black people. You know, I'm proud. But we have to wake up now. Let's get on God's side so God can get on our side and get direction and unite and take care of ourselves and open up businesses in our own community so we can establish our own work and our own self-worth and economy within our community and prosper like everybody else. God bless, folks.